Before we start the stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. There are some things on the internet we're just not supposed to come across, not because they're forbidden, but because we're not ready to know what's behind them. I'm Marwan, an engineering student who loves tech, hacking, and a bit of curiosity that's maybe a little too much. I always saw the internet as an open door to everything, and I never imagined there's a certain door that, once you enter, you don't just get lost, you get pulled in and don't come out the same. I treated the dark web like a game at first. I'd go in to check out hacking tools, leaked links, shady sites, mostly out of curiosity, not to cause harm. One day, I found a weird link on Weird Link. It was a super dark forum, not even on Google or any hidden search engines. The link had no title, just a simple description underneath. Not all auctions sell stuff. Some auctions sell people. At first, I thought it was a sick joke from some crazy guy, but something inside me told me to click. So I did. The site was really basic, just a black background with one word in the middle. Welcome to the live human auction. Below that was a button that said Join Stream. I pressed it and a page popped up with a countdown timer. Only 2 minutes left before the broadcast started. The whole place was silent until the screen came on. Then I saw a man tied to a chair in a basement or some abandoned-looking room. The guy, he looked tortured. His eyes were swollen shut, his hands tied behind his back, and his face was swollen. There was a chat box on the side, and people were writing really weird things. With every comment, a dollar amount would appear, like, hit him in the knee, $75. Cut a lock of his hair, $20. Break his finger, $120. The guy holding the camera was carrying it out calmly, methodically, and coldly. At first, I was shocked. Couldn't believe it. I thought it was CGI or acting, but the blood was so real, and the guy's exhaustion and screams, even though his mouth was taped shut, everything showed it wasn't acting. The stream went on for about 25 minutes, and as time passed, the number of people watching kept growing. Hundreds kept writing commands, and there was a button that said, Please never. I was just watching, not participating. I moved the mouse over the button but didn't click it. Then, disaster happened at the end of the stream. The camera moved. It stopped filming the victim and moved out of the room, starting to pan around like it was showing you the whole place. It passed by a computer, a laptop screen showing a picture of a person, my picture. I was standing in front of the screen, but I saw my photo stored inside the stream, and under the picture it said next, then, load Marwan Adil age 22, location confirmed. My heart stopped. I slammed the laptop shut and stood up. I opened my phone camera, looked at my face, and behind me, no one was there, but my gut feeling was way off. The situation was clear. I became a target. I don't know if they hacked the camera or were watching me before I even went in, but my name and picture showed up live in front of people, in front of those who buy human souls. After that, my life changed completely. Every day was the same fear, feeling like I was being watched, like I wasn't alone. I felt cameras I couldn't see, people staring at me while I was walking down the street. Their looks weren't normal. Every time I opened my laptop, I'd see signs it was hacked. Programs running by themselves, encrypted messages, commands typing on their own. I tried formatting the device, changing the network, even switching laptops, but something just wasn't going back to normal. One time, I woke up and found there was a note slipped under the door with just 2 words. The auction has started. From that moment, I understood that those who come to watch might be the next victims. You don't have to take part. It's enough just to see. I'm writing this story so that if someone gets the same link, they'll know to stop. Sometimes curiosity is a killer, not knowledge. Right now, I'm hiding. I won't say where I am, when, or even if I'm still alive. But what I'm sure of is this site is real, and the auction is ongoing. If you get the link, don't click around in the dark corners of the internet where light doesn't reach and no laws watch over. There was a strange link circulating among dark web users, a weird link. A simple black page with nothing on it except one sentence and a red button. The sentence said, "Write your last wish, but be honest, because liars will really die." Underneath the button it said, "Submit your wish now." At first, Rami, a guy in his early 20s, thought it was a dumb joke or some virus page trying to steal his info. But he was going through a tough time. His mom had died a year ago, and he still wasn't over it. Curiosity pushed him to click. The original page disappeared, and a window popped up asking him to write his wish, like it was his last one before dying. No rules, no limits, just honesty. Despite how strange it was, Rami started typing with his hand. "I'm shaking. I just want to see my mom, even if it's just for one day. I want to smell her scent, hear her voice, hold her tight, even if it's the last day of my life." I hit send, and the page disappeared. Nothing happened, not even a confirmation message. I shut the device, laughing bitterly at myself, but little did I know the game had already begun. 2 days passed. On the third day, he got a strange message on his phone from an unknown number. The message was super short. "Your wish has been granted. Get ready tonight." His heart stopped for a moment. Could someone have read his wish? Is it possible someone's trying to mess with him? But then he remembered. He never shared any details. No mom's name, not even his real address. How did they know? That night, around midnight, he heard a soft knock on his apartment door. He wasn't expecting anyone. Hesitant but driven by worry and curiosity, he opened it. What he saw stopped him in his tracks. It was his mother. Yes, his mother, wearing the same mourning clothes they had buried her in, the same black shawl wrapped around her neck. But she was pale, her eyes glassy, not really looking at him but through him. Still, she smiled and said in her calm voice that he missed so much, "Good evening, my dear. Can I stay for a bit?" She came in and sat on her old chair in the living room, just like she used to. Rami couldn't believe it. He didn't speak or scream. He just watched. She didn't ask him anything, nor did she tell him anything. She just looked at him and smiled. Exactly 24 hours passed, and at the last moment before she left, she stopped at the door and said just one thing. "I was here for you, but next time, it'll be you coming to me." Then she walked out. Rami sat there stunned, crying and laughing. He didn't know if what happened was real, a dream, or some kind of hallucination, but reality was waiting for him in the worst way. The next day, he tried to log into the Dead Wishes website again, but the page was gone. All he saw was a black screen that said, "The dead don't come back on their own. Someone must take their place." From that moment on, things started to change. Rami began to feel. Karim felt like someone was watching him. The reflections in the mirrors showed strange shadows. His voice started to change. In the photos, his face looked less lively than before. Every night he heard a soft knock on the door, and each time he was too scared to open it, because this time it might not be his mother coming back. It might be him who leaves. Karim was an ordinary young guy who worked from home and spent most of his day in front of his computer screen, juggling work and internet browsing. What set him apart was that he was introverted, didn't have many friends, and loved being alone, especially at night. One day, while searching for strange content online, he stumbled upon a simple, unknown forum. The design didn't show up on search engines and had no ads or names, but the title caught his eye. "Your Next Memories from the Future." He clicked the link and a black page opened with a countdown timer ending in a few minutes. He didn't understand what was going on, but at the bottom of the page, there was a small note. "When the timer hits 0, you'll receive one message from yourself." Karim laughed sarcastically, thinking it was some entertainment site or a psychological trick, but he waited out of curiosity, nothing more. The countdown ended, and suddenly a window popped up with a long message starting with, "I'm Karim, but from the future." It had super detailed info that no one else but him could know, his full name and everything. His birth date, the name of his relative who died in an old accident, even the names of the apps he uses every day, the way he sleeps, and even the sentence he said to himself an hour ago, "I'm tired of everything." His heart started pounding hard. The message was clearly written with no mistakes, and it told him what would happen in the coming days. It said, "You'll think you're living normally, but you've actually entered a cycle you can't get out of. Tonight is an important night. Something will happen that will change your life forever." Then the message ended with a scary sentence. "Don't open the door, no matter what you hear, and no matter how much you try to convince yourself it's someone you know." Suddenly, the window shut. He could recover it like it was never even there. At first, Karim thought it was all just a hallucination or some expert hacker messing with him. But then he started noticing weird things. Photos on his device he never took, voice recordings of him saying stuff he didn't remember saying, emails from his account with creepy texts sent by him, but he had no memory of writing them. That night, around midnight, he heard a soft knock on the door. He remembered the warning, stood there staring at the door, his heart pounding wildly, all his senses telling him not to go near it. But then a voice called out from outside in his mom's voice. "Karim, it's Mom. Open the door, sweetheart. I forgot the key." He froze. It was her voice. But his mom had died a year ago. "Camila, come closer." The sound repeated. "Karim, you're not going to open the door for a stranger, boy." He almost reached for the handle but pulled back, remembering the rule. Never open the door. No matter how much you try to convince yourself it's someone you know. He stepped back, then 2 steps back, and then fell to the ground. The sound suddenly stopped. Then a faint whisper came from under the door. "Smart, Karim, but you won't always get away with it." The voice disappeared, and Karim stayed awake all night, not daring to even close his eyes. The next day, he came back to open the site again, but it was gone, no trace on his device or online. Then, his phone got a new notification from an app he had never installed before. The app was called I Am. He opened the notification and found a message. The next appointment was in 7 days, and since that day, Karim stopped trusting any message, any door, or any person, even himself. In a quiet neighborhood, Shadi lived a simple life as a freelance delivery guy. Most of his work was through apps, delivering food orders or small packages. One regular Thursday, just before sunset, he got a notification from the delivery app he worked with. A special shipment with no sender address, no recipient name, just directions that would update on the map step by step. Shadi found the order strange, but it wasn't the first time he'd received weird shipments, especially since he started doing deliveries for VIP clients, most of whom. They wanted total privacy, and the delivery fee offered was super tempting, 5 times the usual amount. He agreed, hopped on his motorcycle, and headed to the pickup spot. He arrived at an old, almost abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. There was no one waiting for him, but he found a small wooden box sitting on the table with a note that said, "Don't open, don't ask, just deliver." As soon as he touched the box, the app started showing him the route, but it was an unfamiliar path. He took side streets he'd never been on before, heading toward the outskirts of a deserted area known for old factories that had been shut down for years, and people avoided the place. The strange thing was, the closer he got, the signal was getting stronger, but the internet kept cutting out until it disappeared completely, and the app stopped working. Still, the map was working in navigation mode. The place he arrived at was an old factory. There was a broken sign on the door that read, "Chemical Materials Factory, closed since 2011. Shadi stood in front of the big iron door, feeling the heavy silence. The place swallowed up all sounds. He struggled to open the door and went inside. It was dark, with a single flickering bulb hanging from the ceiling. Next to it was a wooden table, like the one he received the shipment from. On the table was a photo, a picture of Shadi standing in front of his house door, like it was taken from a security camera. He had never seen her before, but his heart started pounding. A new notification popped up on his phone screen. Put the box on the table and come back immediately. He did as he was told, placing the box down, then started heading out. But then he heard a faint sound coming from inside the factory, like someone groaning or crying. He froze, took 2 steps back, ready to run, but just before he could leave, he got one last message. He opened a door that was supposed to stay shut, and he wasn't the first to do so. His blood ran cold. Suddenly, he heard quick footsteps behind him. He spun around fast, but no one was there. The box had vanished from the table. In that instant, everything around Shadi went silent. It was like time stopped. He took off running at full speed. He left the factory, got on his bike, and headed back to the city. When he checked his phone, there was no sign of the order, no trip logs or notifications. But the weird thing was, every day after that, he'd find a new photo outside his door. A picture of him from different angles. In one, he was sleeping. In another, he was staring at the camera, even though he didn't remember being photographed. Days passed, and the photos kept coming. In every picture, there was a strange person in the background whose face was never visible, but they got closer with each shot. In the last photo, that person was standing at the door of his room, and after that, no one ever saw Shadi again. My name? I'm sure I have one, but I just can't remember. I thought everything around me was foggy. I woke up in a strange bed, in a room I didn't recognize. It smelled like mold. The walls were dull and had marks like someone tried to break out from inside. I got up from the bed, terrified. The first thing I saw was a broken mirror. I looked into it and saw myself, but not really me. My face was there, but something was off. My eyes were completely black and my skin was pale, like I was dead. I walked to the door and opened it to a long, narrow hallway. Every light above flickered on and off with each step I took. Then I started to remember a website I visited once when I was bored. A site on the dark web, completely black with some words on it. Have you ever tried becoming someone else? At first, I laughed and said, "Let me try." I entered my info, uploaded a photo, and picked from a weird list of options. Then I disappeared, forgot everything, started over, took over another body. I thought it was just a game or a trick, but after that, everything started changing. People began avoiding me on the street. Mirrors stopped showing my reflection properly, and my phone rang every day. I'd answer and hear my own voice saying, "You're not you." I started feeling like I was being watched, but I couldn't figure out by who. Every night, I dreamed of the same room I woke up in today, the same bed, the same mirror. But today, the dream became real. I tried to get out of it, the hallway, but every door I reached was locked. Every time I went back to the same mirror, my reflection kept changing more and more. I started seeing other people inside the mirror, a crying child, a man hanging by his leg, a woman with no face, and they were all looking at me like they were saying, "We were here before you." Then one day, a screen suddenly appeared in front of me, a black screen with the words, "Identity Game." It started, "Will you reclaim yourself or become just a shadow?" I pressed reclaim and suddenly a white light covered everything. I woke up on the street, not remembering my name, my home, or anyone I knew. But in my pocket was a small note that said, "You are now the property of the room. The more you forget yourself, the more." I got close to her while I was walking, and people were looking at me like they saw something I couldn't. A little kid pointed at me and told his mom, "Mom, that man has no face." I got scared and ran away. Since then, every day I wake up in the same room, and each time I forget more, my name, my age, my past. Every time I try to leave, I find myself right back where I started. Maybe as you're listening now, you're getting closer to her room, and maybe soon you'll forget yourself too and ask, "Who am I?" And that's how the story ends. Don't forget to like and follow, and hit the bell so you don't miss anything new. And if you made it this far, thanks for watching.